season is over. I just had to throw you off. Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Welcome into Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho.
And this is Jacob Waters.
And the Super Bowl is in the books. Rams did what I think pretty much everybody projected, right?
Yeah,
I know both of us had the Rams winning or going to the Super Bowl. I know a couple of our friends did. I mean, it was a very easy take at the beginning of the year. But hey, they did it. I mean, not that deserves
not the opponent that we saw that they would be facing in the Super Bowl.
If you bet Rams Bengals Super Bowl at the beginning of the year, congratulations, you're seeing the Matrix. I wasn't.
You know more than me.
Yeah, a lot more. No, it's I mean, I guess we have to start there. What we're gonna do with this show is we're gonna do Super Bowl recap, just talk about the Super Bowl in general, and then we're gonna do our accolades for the season. We'll close the book on the 2022 NFL season, and then as the weeks go on, we're gonna look forward to draft season. Kind of let loose a little bit, be a little bit more ourselves. We don't have to talk about every single game, every single big news. We can kind of, relax and just,
we get back to those funky segments, don't we?
Exactly, the dumb ones, basically, the ones we enjoy the most.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'll let you start. Where do you want to go with the Super Bowl?
It was a good game. You know, I think you can look at a few big plays that happened. I was kind of disappointed to see how flag happy it got right there towards the end. They'd been playing the entire game basically flag free, even in some instances where there definitely should have been a flag. T. Higgins 75-yard touchdown where he just ripped Jalen Ramsey's neck apart. Yeah. They didn't throw in there. They didn't throw in it a lot of other different cases, and then you get to the last 2 minutes, and I think we saw 4, and 2 of them were on pivotal downs, giving the Rams more opportunities to drive and then end up doing what they did. Cooper Kupp, listen, I haven't seen an apple cause this much drama since the Garden of Eden. That's one of my favorite tweets I saw this week. And Eli Apple is absolute burnt toast, man. He's getting attacked by people who don't even know football now. Yeah. He's the scapegoat as to why they lost the Super Bowl, why I failed math class, why my car doesn't start sometime. You just blame Eli Apple right now. I couldn't believe it.
I don't understand. Look, I get the mindset of being a corner that's one of the pivotal things. You have to be able to forget the last play, and you have to be able to think that you're the shit at all times. I get that, but goddamn, exactly. You forgot your whole career. You forgot that the Giants are one of their biggest busts in the first round of the past 10 years is Eli Apple, number 10 overall. You forgot that you were unceremoniously sent to, that's a word, I think, sent to the Saints, and you sucked there, and then your last chance was with the Bengals, and I'm sorry, but you weren't the cornerstone of that defense all year. You had some good moments. I'm not going to take anything away from this season, but the fact that he was talking before the game, the fact that he was chirping Odell Beckham saying, I know his tendencies, blah, blah, blah. You can know his tendencies all you want, but OBJ is more athletic and more explosive. I know OBJ got hurt, and that's sad, but where the fuck did it come from? It's wild that he was talking so much crap. I think it's one of
those things that, listen, you can go look up 10-minute compilations on YouTube of Eli Apple getting burnt. Yeah. That was before he ever made it to the Bengals. That was just a well-known funny thing you could go do. Yeah. And you could see him play by play, and he just looked so nervous and so discombobulated, like he didn't even know what he's doing out there. And I guess now that he had a little bit of limelight, he said, you know what? I can be the bad guy villain that people talk about, or I can just go back to being Eli Apple on the third team that no one ever cares and talks about. So why not talk a little bit of shit? Maybe it hits. He did have a better year compared to most of his career. Yeah. Cooper Kupp owned him though. Owned him in the Super Bowl. He gave up the 2 touchdowns on him. He did. It was man to man.
I mean, Jalen Ramsey's thanking God that Eli Apple was talking.
Yes, Jalen Ramsey gave up over 150 yards, the most he's ever given up in any game. And guess what? 75 should have been taken away. Yeah, 100%. You cannot be upset with Jalen Ramsey for that at all. But he didn't play a good game. He didn't play the game that he was supposed to.
No, he didn't. And it is what it is. There was and really, I can go down. There's 3 big plays that you can talk about. The first one down the sidelines against Jamar Chase. He was burnt, but it wasn't he ridiculous.
Was burnt, but Jamar made a phenomenal one-handed catch.
That was one of those things where it's he wasn't completely out of position. It was just it was a great ball, great catch. A great ball, even better catch. And then you obviously had the 75-yard touchdown that you can wipe away because his head was pulled the other direction. I'm not going to really blame him for that. And then it was the play where I guess he tries to bite on it. Ball goes to the outside against Jamar Chase on a little bubble screen.
Gets him for about 13 or something.
Yeah, and that's not the end of the world. I understand where he was going, like thinking with that, but like you just gotta you can't let a guy like Jamar Chase get free. Jamar Chase is, I mean, we'll get to this part of the conversation, but could we agree there was the number one wide receiver in the NFL right now? I don't think anybody can take that away from Kupp right now. You got to give that to him.
It's his.
Jamar Chase is top 5. You can't. I can't name 5 better wide receivers than him. I don't think.
It's
ridiculous how good it is.
Crazy to think about how stacked of a wide receiver top heavy it is right now.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of names that are deserving up there.
Absolutely.
And Cooper Kupp is one that I think a lot of people try to argue against and find ways to not.
Because he's a white guy, you know.
I guess so. It's because he doesn't
look
physically.
He doesn't look like OBJ or.
He's not physically dominant versus some of the other names that we see on this list, like Tyreek Hill with his just incredible speed that can just tear through anything in the world. Cooper Kupp reminds me a lot of a Jerry Rice, though, where he's not so much physically dominant. His route running is crisp. His hands are elite. You know, he's a good blocker. He can do a lot of different things, and he can do all of them great. It's what Cooper Kupp does. He has this talent for being able to get open, have different kind of rub routes that he does, and the connection between him and Stafford is what makes it that much
amazing how fast it came on.
Yeah. But if you're to throw Kupp and Jamar up there in the top 5 now, I mean, we had a pretty cemented top 5 this past year. Someone's falling out, and that's a hard conversation to do. And I know we do those groups in the offseason and stuff, but it's going to be tough.
I guess we could get into it now, but I mean, that's not really where I was trying to go with it.
No, I was just saying, it gets hard.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just thinking about. Yeah, it really does. That's a tough one. But yeah, I think Jamar Chase is special, man. He's super good. That whole team. I know there's a lot of conversation like, man, this was Joe Burrow's second year, but it's really his first full season. And he takes his team to the Super Bowl. It's tough. It's tough to look at the AFC landscape, and I know we're kind of bouncing around a little bit because we're past the Super Bowl and now we're talking about the future. But I want to go here just because it's like, you look at the AFC landscape and, you know, you got the Chiefs that aren't going to be lying down anytime soon. The Bills, who probably should have, in all reality, if it weren't for 13 extra seconds on the clock, should have been playing the Bengals in the AFC Championship. You never know how that goes if the Bills were there. You have, you know, a handful of other teams that are up and comer. You know, the Chargers aren't going to be slumps in it for a couple of years.
I was about to name
the Patriots, you know, they got a new quarterback up there. It seems like they're going in the right direction. You know, then you can get into a lot of other teams. But, this was a great team. This was a great season for Joe Burrow and that entire team. An offensive line away, really, from probably winning that game.
Are you saying
honestly,
all this to say that they're not going to get back?
I'm saying it's not a guarantee. I'm saying, first of all, they're going to go get an offensive line. Everyone's worried about them getting an offensive line, and I get it, but like they have $60 million in cap. They're going to go pay for an offensive line.
And with the notoriety around that team this offseason, it's a bigger issue. It's been put on a world stage now.
Why would any offensive lineman not want to go play for them? I mean,
exactly.
that's a great. It's
now you know that you have a low bar to hit.
Yeah.
There's little to no expectation, and guess what? You can just give a tenth of an effort, and you're probably better than that.
And look, there's talk about Taylor Lewan getting cut. You know, and there's a lot of other names that are due to be free agents. But like Taylor Lewan's the perfect example of a guy. Like if he gets a surprise cut this year because he didn't play great coming off an ACL, I don't think he'll get cut because he's kind of a cornerstone and big name in Tennessee.
Face for them.
I think they would give him another year, but if he does, like I can imagine him going. You think he doesn't want to play with Burrow? I bet he does.
No, Bengals, they'll address that need for sure.
Yeah.
But you're right though. I mean,
it's just scary to think about all this.
The AFC landscape is like hyper competitive, especially compared to the NFC, because I think the thing that separates it is young quarterback play.
Yeah.
And we're talking young elite quarterback play. I mean, you said the Bills, you said the Chiefs, we have the Chargers, the Bengals, the Ravens are doing pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And we got to give a little bit of props to the Titans. I mean, thinking about where they were at competitively.
Titans is the team I missed. Absolutely.
Titans are a very good team. Different. They're the most unique built team out of that when it comes to, they fit more of like the NFC kind of landscape
style
of things. Yeah. But a lot of good teams for it. And I don't know. The Bengals they definitely, overshot their,
I can make the argument either way because the big thing is this wasn't supposed to be their year.
No,
like this wasn't. They were the Cinderella story.
They weren't even supposed to be a playoff team.
Exactly. So it's like you kind of can take this season or this Super Bowl appearance as a this wasn't supposed to be it. This wasn't they were building something, but this wasn't supposed to be the year. So maybe next year is. Maybe the year after that is. Maybe their window is still wide open, which it should be. But man, there's a lot of other teams that their window isn't closing anytime soon either. And it certainly is scary to think about because the greatest quarterback ever to never win a a Super Bowl is Dan Marino, and he went his second year. And he didn't win, and he never got back. Mm-hmm. You look at Cam Newton. I know it wasn't his second year, but it was, I believe, before he got the big contract, right? 2015?
It was the good step.
It was, yeah. So, but I mean, again, and that was another one where, like, man, if he would have had an extra receiver, if he would, it's the same kind of conversation. Because I look at the Bengals, like, man, if they had a couple extra offensive linemen, if Burrow had a couple extra seconds, I mean, shit, Jalen Ramsey was on his face
down on the ground
on that last play of the game, or the last Bengals offensive play of the game. So if he had an extra second and it wasn't, Aaron Donald coming downhill, maybe he gets that out.
We're talking about Jalen being a huge sellout artist. We're not talking about Eli Apple now.
Exactly.
And we're talking about Jamar and Joe Burrow winning the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
As long as that's the face of your team, Joe Burrow and a Jamar Chase cornerstone, they're going to be fine. Yeah.
The other part of it that scares me is, like, man, you look at Aaron Rodgers, and I think Joe Burrow is a little bit more of the clutch factor that Aaron Rodgers has just never proven to be in the playoffs. That it doesn't really think that's a fair comparison, but Aaron Rodgers got there, his second starting year, and he's never been back. He's seen one Super Bowl. I mean, that's wild to think about.
It's sad, honestly.
Yeah.
It's really sad that a Joe Burrow in that second year is almost matching the same kind of. Aaron Rodgers is Peyton Manning a lot of ways. You know what they say about being the most fantastic regular season player you've ever seen, but when you need one game to show up in the moment, that's where you could say guys like Eli Manning really step up, and they can just kind of go under the radar. But at the end of the day, if you need a playoff clutch moment game, there's just something about having that it factor that you just can't coach, can't teach. It's in your DNA. Joe Burr has it. Joe Shiesty.
Joe Burr.
What do you think about the Rams though? Like their team, their infrastructure. Other than this Aaron Donald retirement news, and I want to break that down too and get your opinion on that. Their core stays together very well. They're going to look at a healthy Robert Woods coming back, who's supposed to be a very pivotal point in that wide receiver room. Mm-hmm. It's a good team top to bottom. I don't think they're losing much.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Is it just reload and go?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where they keep kicking the can down the road with draft picks, and they'll probably keep doing that. They don't care about draft picks, so I'm sure this year, in the middle of the season, next year, they'll probably have a need, and they'll probably fill it with a veteran guy. Yeah. I imagine Calais Campbell is going to want to go play for the Rams this past year. There's a post that came out that said he was inspired by the Rams, and he wants one more season. He wants a Super Bowl run. I mean, that just seems like where do you go? Where do you go when you want to ring?
The rich get richer, right? Like you show a good success story. The Buccaneers were able to capitalize on that.
Exact same story, yeah.
They ended up getting a lot of good old veterans who were like, you know what? I got a little bit left. I'm going to use it and spend it the right way.
Ndamukong Suh, another guy who he's a year by year guy who gets a contract every offseason, it seems like. And I guarantee you he's going to consider going to LA. A lot of guys are going to consider going to LA. Yeah, their window is wide open. It does feel, and I think we've always said this, they're our top-heavy team. They're a couple injuries away from not being close to winning one of those playoff games. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not. That's not to say anything. They came into this playoffs. They were healthy. They rolled, and they're the best team in football this year. They deserve that Super Bowl. I have nothing against any of them, but I don't think they're a slam dunk to go back.
No. That's the good thing about the NFL right now, though, is I don't think you can name a slam dunk to go back. I can name slam dunks to go to the playoffs, but once you get to the playoffs, listen, we got to see the best game of football we've ever seen in our lives played 2 weeks before the Super Bowl in the Bills and the Chiefs going at it. Yeah. And both of those teams very well could have been in that Super Bowl. Wildly different games, but the caliber of play is very high right now. And like I said, we're blessed to see all these good quarterbacks.
I mean, did we have a bad playoff game?
No. I mean, there's
a couple blowouts in wild card weekend. Other than that, I mean, it was just game after game after game.
The Bucs took care of the Eagles.
Yeah,
and the Rams took care of the Cardinals, so NFC kind of ended up in a blowout.
The Patriots took care. I think the Patriots were taken care of by the Bills. I think really every game the wild card weekend was pretty one-sided. Actually,
yeah, but then after that divisional and on, I think every single one, bear with me, but was a one-possession game.
Pretty much, yeah, and it looked like every single team you could have. I think the Bucs is the one where it's like there was 4 fumbles that went into the fact that they were a one-possession game, but still. Got there. Yeah. I mean, absolutely wild. Anywhere else you want to go with the actual Super Bowl? I'm sure we missed stuff because we kind of bounced around everywhere.
No. Well, Aaron Donald retirement. I wanted to see what you thought about that and maybe why. And I say no. I don't think it is. I understand that he has pretty much accomplished every major feat that could be accomplished and then some.
Yeah.
But the dude's looking at $40 million a year.
$40 million a year?
Yeah, he gets paid an astronomical amount. He's like the highest paid defensive player in the league.
Yeah, but it's not $40 million, is it?
Utah.
Are you saying with like other
and incentives
and
sure
commercials and stuff? I'm sure he makes a lot. I mean, listen, I don't know what it's like to be the best ever at anything. So like, I can't really put myself in his shoes. Like, what is it like to be the greatest defensive tackle we've ever seen? I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know how. Obviously, he puts his heart and soul into it every single year, and if he's just burnt out, done, and doesn't want to do anything less than 100%, yeah, more power to him. I mean, it just adds to the greatest Hall of Fame class of all time with Tom Brady, Aaron Donald, Roethlisberger, all those guys retiring in the same season. Kind of sucks. Whitworth, I think all those guys are first ballot Hall of Famers and one of the best of their position. I would be greatly disappointed to see Aaron Donald retire just because I'm a fan of greatness.
He gets $23 million base with $12 million on bonus incentives.
No shit.
And he met every single one.
Yeah, he did.
So I guess base is whatever it is.
Still, though, I mean, yeah.
As long as you're Aaron Donald, I think you're hitting those bonuses every single time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's one of those things. I always look at it like, and I guess they're not billionaires, but they're at a certain point. Does an extra year of making $20 million really mean anything to you?
No,
I don't know.
If you have your stuff balanced, that's just a life that we don't know about.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know what it's like to be the greatest ever, and I don't know what it's like to have that kind of money.
They want to get paid like that for a reason, and I mean, you could definitely tell. He is 100% invested in the game. It's not like he's looking at a burnout. You saw what happened when he got in a little scuffle on the sideline just for a half second with an offensive lineman. The next 3 plays, he whooped some ass. He was pissed off, ready to go.
How old is he?
He has it. He has the drive.
How old is he?
He got drafted in, I think, 2014.
Yeah, it was 2014 because that was like the greatest draft we've seen.
And that puts him at like 23. He's probably 30. I think I'm going to say Aaron Donald is 30, 198 days. 30, 198 days.
All right, well, I got to go to Spotrack. He is 30, so you got the age right. You keep talking, I got to look it up.
198, was that right?
98 days.
I don't know if I got that, bro. I think it's higher than that. Because his birthday's in May.
Damn. I love how we can do this.
I missed it, didn't I? Yeah, Aaron Donald being 30 years old, I mean, you start to see that decline, right, where Von Miller did, J.J. Watt. It's 31, 32-ish.
276 days.
Yeah, birthday in May.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, Von Miller's still going, so why can't he? Von Miller are they going to bring him back?
We're not even talking about, we don't know if we've seen the peak of Aaron Donald yet.
I think we have seen the peak of Aaron Donald.
I don't know.
Say that.
I don't know. I mean, it would be hard to think that he could surpass what he's done, but you can't say you've seen a peak till you've seen a decline. Right now, he's riding out peak. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I don't know either. I do think we've seen the peak.
Age
and I do guess I can see it where like he is undersized, obviously, and that was the one thing coming out. And it's like if you are undersized, you do have to be the peak of strength. And I mean, he is.
He's never been hurt though.
He's never. Wow, he
missed 2 games in his career, and I think if you click on fines and suspensions, both of them were to that because that was something he had happen to him a while ago. I'm not sure if it'll show where he missed the game, but he's been a pretty hothead at times.
I mean, he's not like Ndamukong Suh hothead type of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That would be, I would be sad to see it, but I mean, teach their own. I mean, what's it like to be?
Is he on the Mount Rushmore of defensive players all time?
Yeah, absolutely. He's right behind the Giants.
Lawrence Taylor.
I
think you put him, Lawrence Taylor, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis. Like when you think of a defensive dominant.
I was thinking the cornerback, the Florida State corner. Dion, yeah.
You forgot your own Florida State.
I'm bad with names, bro. I've always been bad with names, and I'm like brain dead right now. I'm sorry.
When it comes to that level of play, though,
it's special. I mean,
legend of the game is an insult to Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is the game when it comes to
and to be fair, like the past 5 years, you could argue he was the best player in the league. Like overall, like obviously quarterback is more impactful. There's a lot more, highlight position level guys, but he, pound for pound might have been the best player we've seen over the past 5-6 years.
To see a window of that on the defensive side of the ball and defensive interior to where it's different when you're a quarterback. When you're a quarterback, you have certain things around you that you're just given automatically.
Yeah, of course.
But when you're what Aaron Donald has to do, they're saying, all right, we're going to triple team him. Like, no matter what happens this play, this man is not going to be a factor because that's just something that the offense can plan around
when the Dolphins played the Rams in 2020, and the Dolphins bulldozed them because they got a bunch of defensive plays that it was a one-sided game just because of turnovers and stuff.
Yeah.
On offense, the entire plan was triple and quadruple team Aaron Donald. There was a play when they had 3 rushers, Aaron Donald at nose tackle, and there was 4 offensive linemen guarding Aaron Donald.
Yeah, because y'all would bring in the running back and have the tight end chipping too. So you would make sure that the linemen have.
Yes. Yep. And then you had the tackles on the edge, going man for man with whoever they were going, and Aaron Donald had 4 guys. That's the kind, and that's just one. That's one
the
play
caliber
from a
that
fan,
they've been doing for years, and he is still at that level of play, if
ridiculous.
not getting better. It's phenomenal.
Absolutely ridiculous. All right. Anywhere else you want to go with the Super Bowl? I mean, obviously, Matthew Stafford, gotta love it. I love that he didn't get the because I really did think that last drive. I thought he earned the MVP just because
15 plays,
15 plays, and he was just lacing it, just absolutely. I mean, nobody was really open. Even Cooper Kupp obviously had a bunch of receiving yards and a touchdown that last drive, but I mean there was the no-look play that's gone all over social
People
now.
People dream of doing that.
Where, that was just ridiculous. But you watch it from that one angle that I saw today where it's like no-look stays on the right side of the field and moves the linebacker, safety, whoever that was in the middle. Von Bell, so the safety, and just throws it right past him.
And if he didn't
wild.
do that, it wouldn't. There's so many times where because OBJ was gone. You had nobody else to get separation.
Van Jefferson,
you had to make it for the other guys.
Tutu, I don't know where Tutu Atwell was. I don't know if he was even healthy or anything, but he wasn't there. That's their second round pick this year. Van Jefferson, great complimentary piece. Yeah, but I mean, just is clearly not able to take over a game. Not going to be a guy who's a number 1, number 2 guy. I mean, that just is what it is. Great route runner though. I don't know, man. I so much respect to Matthew Stafford. You love to see it, and what a Matthew Stafford game. Because the whole time he was in with the Lions, he would throw a couple interceptions. He would get his team into bad spots from time to time, but he would dig them out of a hole every time in the fourth quarter, it seemed like. And what does he do? He throws 2 interceptions. One, I don't blame him for at all. Late in the game, you're trying to throw a 50-50 ball up. The cornerback gets it. Not a big deal. The other one, a little bit more on him.
The other one was a wide receiver tip up.
The second one was?
The first one was one that he threw in the back corner.
That's the one that I didn't blame him for.
He pointed and was like, just go get it.
That's a 50-50 ball.
The second one was to the Cooper Kupp knockoff guy who reached out with one hand and bobbled the ball up. The guy should have caught it. Number 18, I can't think of his name. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't blame him for either of them.
Stafford didn't do either interception.
Okay,
if there was one, it would be the forcing the ball down the field, the first one.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with that. Like, I understand the thought process behind that play. And it's like, you take your chances there. That is what it is. Man, just an absolute great game. Joe Burrow played his heart out. I saw a lot of people hating on Joe Burrow. And the problem with the Super Bowl is you have 112 million people watching this game. And it's a fairly small number of people percentage of those people that are watching the Super Bowl that actually pay attention and watch every single week. So it's like, all they get, and especially the Bengals, so it's like all they get is they've heard about him for a couple of weeks because he's been hot and in the news lately, and you watch him in the one game, and if he doesn't blow you away, you got a lot of people chirping.
The casual
that
thing
really
to
don't
watch
have
it and
to
be
talk.
like, oh, he's not all that.
Yeah, and it's like, I wanted to do a segment today. We didn't have time, but we might do it next week, where it's like dumb shit people say on the internet, because I did see a lot of people blaming Joe Burrow, and it's like, man, he had no time to throw the ball. I saw one bad decision the entire game. Third down where he should have gone to the guy who was in the flats on the sideline and missed the play. But other than that, I saw Tyler Boyd have a clear and obvious option route where he should have cut to the outside, and he does, and he cuts inside.
Boyd also dropped a pivotal 3rd and 9.
Yeah, exactly.
Right in his gut.
I mean, and there wasn't a ton of plays that were like that, but there was enough to where it's like, man, if anything, we're blaming Boyd. We're blaming other people.
I think it's just got to go to the props behind Joe Burrow and what he's able to do.
Absolutely.
You're telling me he's able to get sacked and force a 2nd and 16, and NFL teams, when that happens, it's like, all right, flip the playbook. Let's play it safe and let's get us out of this. He finds ways. He makes plays. It was crazy to think. I think he's been sacked 70 times if you count a regular season and postseason.
Yeah, I mean, he had 9 in the Titans and I think 6 against the
that's an insane
Rams.
number.
Yeah, I look at that. I look at him and it's like you never see his demeanor change. It's
Exactly.
Like, how many you have never? I don't think there's a quarterback out there that can get sacked that many times and not be flustered. I think Tom Brady is a clear example of like a guy who never gets flustered, but I've seen him get flustered when he has 4 or 5 sacks.
Brady gets sacked 2 or 3 times though.
Yeah,
he starts slamming his helmet on the ground and he's looking over at the guy like, what the hell are you doing? Burrow's over here just like,
I mean, and nobody's like that. I mean, I think the only one that I can think of off the top of my head, Ben Roethlisberger, I didn't feel like ever got flustered.
I think he likes getting hit.
Yeah, he enjoyed it.
Big Ben's weird, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just props to him. It's going to be fun to watch him for the next 10 years. Really, really wish he would have refused to go to Cincinnati and the Dolphins could have traded up for him. But you know, it is what it is. We got Tua Tagovailoa, so we're doing pretty good. All right, let's go to our honorable mentions. We're doing our
between the pylons accolades. We had MVP, defensive player of the year. All these other things came out. We made our own little version of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorta.
Kind of. This is a little bit silly, fun. We're having fun with this. Let's go. The worst. We'll start with the bad. All right.
Okay.
Worst beat of the year. We'll go gambling. We'll kind of go gambling. Maybe if it's a game that you called your shot on, you could do that. But I went gambling, and I'll go first on this. My bad beat of the year was week 1. I think it was Sunday night. It might have been Monday Night Football. I don't remember which one.
It was Sunday night.
Was it Sunday Night Football?
Because I was at work.
Raiders, Ravens. I bet it was a big bet, but it was one of those things where I felt good about it. Darren Waller just did a ridiculous one. I was like, I'm going to do like $30 for Darren Waller to have 11 catches, however many yards, and a touchdown, right? In that game, Darren Waller absolutely goes off. He goes off for his last catch of the game was, he had already hit his yards at far none. His last catch of the game was the 10th catch of his game for a touchdown that sent the Raiders to overtime. Now, obviously, that was just a big parlay, and to bet anybody get 11 catches, that's not the bad beat. The bad beat is he had 2 drops in the third quarter that were like literally screens where it was just in his hands and he dropped it that would have won me the bet.
Yeah.
And then go to overtime, still have a chance. All I need is one catch from Darren Waller to win like $400 or $500, which, I mean, that was a shit ton of money to me. And not even targeted once. That was my bad beat. And then the rest of the year just never got better. I don't know. I didn't win a lot of money this year.
Man, so mine was betting as well. Mine was the Tennessee Titans week 2. The Titans just got decimated by the Cardinals week 1. And they had to travel all the way up to Seattle to play the Seahawks. And the game did not go in their favor. I think they were down 20-0 at half. It was a blowout. I know for a fact I put $20 on the Titans money line to come back, and that won me $112. So you can do the math at home if you want. I think that's around like a plus 410-ish on the odds. So I mean, substantial underdog right there. Titans come back, tie the game, force overtime. I cash out right then, take my 112, put it on Seattle to win. Seattle, that just doubles my money because when you make it to overtime, it's just like minus 110 basically. So I was looking at a $200 win right here, looking good. Seattle gets the ball, and they have a 3-and-out. They punt the ball to the Titans, back them up though. It was okay. It was looking good, and I was feeling good about it. And then I think they got an A.J. Brown slant right across the middle. Titans end up taking that game. They kick a field goal to win it. It was big momentum for the Titans. Big loss for me right there. And it was just, it sucks because it was like, why did I pull out? I could have kept that in there or just doubled down and left it on the Titans again. And I went against my gut in the first place. That was a bad bet. And now it taught me to leave it.
Man, that is a rough one.
That's one where I was just chasing the win and doing too much.
Yeah. You were playing a little too hard there. But I mean, especially like understandably looking at the season, Titans end up being the number 1 seed and the Seahawks miss the playoffs. So it's like we can look at it from that point of view. But you said that was week 2?
That was week 2. Titans just got destroyed.
Yeah. And what has Russell Wilson been his entire career?
Yeah, no.
He's been comeback kid. I mean, like so why would you not, like, you go to overtime and Seahawks get the ball? I would have instantly done the exact same thing. I don't blame you a bit for that. I don't think
it was before the coin toss too.
Yeah.
And then once I knew Seattle won it, I was like, I didn't even watch hardly. I was at work and I was like, oh, that's a wrap. We're good, right? No.
Nope. Damn. That is harsh. That is a tough one. All right, moving on. Where do we want to go next? Let's go. We're gonna call it Big Dick and Little Dick moment. All right, our best and worst calls of the year. Right, just something that we call it. It can be a gambling moment. It can be a preseason preseason call. Whatever prediction we had. The worst take and best take, basically. All right. Yeah. But my big dig moment was saying the Seahawks would have a down year at the beginning of the season. I had them missing the playoffs, and I nailed that. I did have them missing the playoffs.
Yeah. Mine would be, and it's to my, my own failures, I guess, for my Minnesota Vikings, would be calling for Mike Zimmer being fired, though. Mm-hmm. Something that kind of got tossed around, and it started getting a lot, hotter as the year went on. Listen, I was here last year saying it was kind of time for a change of scenery. I was here mid-season last year saying, this team just doesn't fight enough. They're in too many close games, and the better team should win these, and then you have to look in the mirror and be like, well, it's one of those moments where the Chargers had to do it. You start looking at one possession games, and it's like, well, we're 1-8. That's going to go back to the mean. And then after so long, it's like maybe there's something pointing to why there's these late game moments right here.
Yeah.
And Mike Zimmer change of pace. Yeah. I was right.
I'm going to go at my little dick moment. I had a lot more of these than big dick moments. I don't know if that says anything about me.
It happens.
I had a rough year for projecting stuff, but my worst by far. Trey Hendrickson, defensive end for the Saints, goes and gets a payday by the Cincinnati Bengals, and I thought that was the second coming of all the terrible Jaguars signings, all the terrible Brown signings. You see all these big free agent signings that are just like, oh man, what a terrible signing.
We're not hearing from him again.
And Trey Hendrickson goes off for 11 sacks this season, an absolute monster in the playoffs. I mean, a big part of that defensive line. I could not have been more wrong. I had that when we were doing our free agent stuff, and honestly, I don't want to call you out, but I know you agreed with me. We both missed on this. I had that as the worst free agent signing of the year. That was a miss.
He had 14 sacks.
He had 14
sacks.
That was a huge miss.
That's huge. No, and I thought so too. I thought it was like a guy who could go out and kind of be. They paid him elite defensive end money, and I was like, I didn't like that one.
I didn't see it.
I was looking more of like the Carl Lawsons out there that got their chance at the Jets, and I was like, that one I like. And then he ended up getting hurt, whatever the case. Trey Henderson, you outperformed and did it. Mm-hmm. I have two, and I'm going to take mine being the overall hype behind Washington's defense. Mm-hmm. That was one that I just thought of.
Yeah.
And thinking about how they went out and signed was it William Jackson, I believe?
We both loved that signing.
Was a massive signing for them. I thought it was just going to be the move. They had so many different big veteran names on that defense. I thought there was no way, even if they didn't address that quarterback position, and they weren't able to. They had Taylor Heineke doing some okay things there, that their defense would be able to just get them by, and they would be a solid, at worst, top 5 defense. I was wrong on that one, and, you got to bite the bullet on it.
Yeah, look, okay, I guess if we're doing two, I can do two too. The Panthers, and again, that was another one that I agreed with you on the Washington's there. But yeah, the Panthers I thought was gonna be the team, and I felt real good about it the first 4 weeks of the season. I thought Sam Darnold was gonna come in and find his home in Carolina. I thought I can't remember his name anymore. The offensive line, Joe Brady. Thank you, Joe Brady I told you I can't think today. It's my back. I blame my back. It's a back pain. I thought Joe Brady was going to be a candidate for a head coaching job because I thought he would just turn this offense into an absolute powerhouse. I thought, and really the sad part is I know Christian McCaffrey got hurt, but every time I talked about the Panthers in the offseason, but last year's offseason, I didn't even really mention Christian McCaffrey because he was the known commodity. I was talking about all the other pieces that I thought they had that I thought was just going to be absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, it was a huge miss. They went downhill fast. They that offense never was able to elevate or evolve over the season. And Joe Brady ends up getting fired. And yeah, that was one of my bigger misses.
I'd say my last one would be just the overall hype from thinking the Giants were ready to make a next step. Mm-hmm. I was a big believer in Joe Judge, and I kind of thought that he had some chemistry going on with this outperforming no-name defense. Mm-hmm. They went out in free agency in the draft and they brought a few guys on. Had a lot of free agent signings too, and I kind of thought it would be better for them top to bottom, and it didn't hit like I thought it would. I wasn't ready for him to be fired. They ended up, being probably one of the worst teams out there right now.
Yeah.
Bad future going, so...
Yeah, we'll see how that goes moving forward. But yeah, and think you were a little higher on than I was, but like I won't sit here and say I was like I'm pretty surprised by how bad they were this past year as well. All right, let's go through a couple fairly quickly, just because we agreed on the next few, so we won't spend a whole lot of time going back and forth on it. But best social media moment, the moment that was just like, holy shit, what's going on? This took over the internet. Yeah. There's a lot of them in the NFL, but the best one by far was
Antonio Brown taking his clothes off mid-game and just hyping up the crowd and leaving. That is unheard of. That's like, they don't even put that in a movie because they're like, nah.
That was wild. Yeah, absolutely wild. We joke.
Start to the new year, too, so it was like, oh, we're off to a great start.
We joke about, like, starting a sports book, online sports book, where we don't do game lines or anything like that, and we just do, like, absolutely crazy off-the-wall bets and give them ridiculous odds, but if they hit, they'll hit big. Yeah. But I think the sports book would win all we would have lost our money on that one.
We would have been bankrupt that day.
Yeah.
What are the odds a player just quits mid-game? We could do different ones, like what are the odds that there's an animal on the field, or that the scoreboard malfunctions, just the most wild stuff ever. We'd be done.
We lost that one pretty bad. All right, moving on. Worst celebration of the season. There are a lot of good celebration, but who had the absolute worst celebration of the year?
Kirk Cousins hitting the gritty. That was uncomfortable to watch. That was.
It's like your parents having sex. You don't want to see that.
No. Yeah. It's like a car wreck. You'll look.
Fair enough. That's probably a better one.
Yeah. It's like I wish I didn't.
All right. Biggest who the fuck is that moment? All right. The guy, and I think there's could be a lot of answers here, but I know we both were unanimous on this one. But who the fuck is that? Just somebody who came out of left field and ended up balling for a team, and go figure, it's a running back on the 49ers. Eli Mitchell.
Yep. A lot of people wouldn't have guessed that one because you have the hype behind Trey Sermon right there.
Yeah, that's honestly, that was one of my, one of the considerations for a big dig moment, although I didn't want to, because, I wasn't completely out on him, but I didn't like him coming out, and I didn't really see the fit with the 49ers. But the 49ers traded up for him. I figured they knew more than I did. And Trey Sermon got little to no play all season. I don't think there was any big injury issues
he had a
there.
lot of trouble.
And and then Eli Mitchell, their 6th or 7th round pick, whatever it was, goes out and absolutely balls. I mean, I know he had some injury issues, but wow, what a thing that Kyle Shanahan can do. Why would you ever trade up for a running back when you can find these guys in the 6th and 7th round? It doesn't make any sense to me.
You never see him bet against himself. Usually he's over prideful in saying that I can show you what I can do without you. Yeah. And that one was kind of against his thing. Yeah.
All right. We will finish off this podcast with the biggest underachiever and overachiever of the season. This is a team that overachieved and a team that underachieved. I can't explain it any better than that. I'll let you go first.
I'm going to hurt your feelings on this one, and it's your Miami Dolphins. Y'all went from a spot last year, a 10-win team. You just barely missed the playoffs just because of some tiebreaker standings and stuff, and it was looking really good. Not saying that we knew that Tua was the guy, but we knew that Tua wasn't the guy, and you still got 10 wins. We knew that Tua may be the guy, and you have 10 wins. There's not a lot of teams who can do that good and still have that question mark at the biggest position in the game.
Yeah.
Went into this year, y'all went on that 7-loss streak, then a 7-win streak. It was just kind of this upheaval of, I expected this year to be your last year, and basically flip the years. You wanted to see, I feel like you took a big jump before you really learned to walk when it comes to Brian Flores, and now you've lost your coach. There's rumors that the owner's going to have to sell the team from paying money to lose games. And, y'all went from a spot where I was looking at you and actually respected you as a franchise, a team, and a fan. And honestly, every one of those levels you can pretty much just strip away in my head.
You don't respect me as a fan? Why not?
I don't know. Listen, it took this weird twist in my head because I could tell by your face where I was like, I'm going to shit on you now. And it was just the way you were doing it. It was like, he's hurting, stab him. Go for the kill.
I mean, look, you can just look.
Step on his throat.
When we fired Brian Flores, I was questioning it all, man. I really was. Because I thought we had the dude. I thought we had the next Bill Belichick. I really did.
That drive.
Yeah,
you just didn't want him.
Yeah, well, I wanted him.
Your owner.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be mad if he sold the team. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that wasn't fun to talk about. All right, Browns are mine. Underachiever.
Man, that hurts me.
Yeah, I don't think it hurt you the way you hurt me, man. Nope. All right, okay, I got a whole something on my back. Let's shit on the Browns now.
Yeah.
All right, Baker Mayfield, the number. Sorry, I just heard what you said. Baker Mayfield, number one pick in that class that had Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson in it. Where were you all season? What happened there? Not able to move the ball when you have OBJ on the field. Have to cut OBJ. He goes to the Super Bowl winning football team, so that just kind of has to sting, right? Mm-hmm. Go from the Browns to a Super Bowl winning team. Happened a lot when the Browns traded with the Patriots too. You're supposed to have the best offensive line in the league. Didn't matter. You're supposed to have the best running backs in the league. Both of them got hurt. Didn't matter. Your defense is supposed to be, top 10 with the defensive lineman. Yeah, a defensive line that should be great. Wasn't enough at every level, man. Like, this team on paper should have been they should have been, at least competing in the divisional or championship round. They should have been where the Bengals were, really. Yes, they have all the pieces, but Joe Burr is a difference maker, and I'm gonna sit here and say I don't think that Baker Mayfield is ever gonna be that. I think Baker Mayfield's a fine quarterback, but Baker Mayfield's close to getting into that Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr range where it's like,
no, I'll go further. He's below that.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, man, if it's feeling like that's his ceiling at this point. Yeah. He might even be worse than that, but
that's the biggest thing, is that's his ceiling, because when you take a guy at 1-1 where you have to at least see a glimpse of, man, that's why we took that guy. That guy's our franchise. That guy's our leader. It looked like in the beginning you saw that out of Baker, because he had this adversity where the Browns just had this bad taste in our mouth for so long. Even think about it, we got impressed with a 6-7 win season out of them.
Yeah,
that was how low the bar was. Yeah. Then you started to get more comfortable with winning and all these narratives, and it just feels like that's where he's at. Like, he brought them as high as he could that early on, and you need more out of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because now you have to make a decision. He'll probably get another season. It would be a surprise if he isn't the starter for them next year. And it's one of those things where it's like you're gonna have this thing, like you're not really in a position where you can get a guy who's significantly better, and you're not really in a position where this guy can win you a Super Bowl unless you have everything perfect around him. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that has been a Tannehill, that has been a Kirk Cousins, that has been a Derek Carr a little bit. And again, I think there's pros to all those guys. All those quarterbacks deserve to be starters in the league. There's 32 spots. Not all of them can be superstars. But it really does suck when it's a quarterback-driven league to be in that position where it's like you need everything else to work out perfect, and you need you need to not have 3 interceptions in the divisional round type of play too.
Yeah, I get that for sure.
Yeah, so that's it. All right, we'll finish it on a high note. Overachievers. I'm gonna go pretty, basic. The Bengals were the biggest overachievers ever, right? To go to the Super Bowl. Jamar Chase is an absolute dog. T. Higgins coming out. I mean, it's so cool that, like, T. Higgins was kind of getting shit on during the draft process, and he's ended up kind of proving everybody wrong. It's cool that Joe Burrow is able to come back, be a comeback player of the year. And really, I don't feel like a lot of people did not give him that. Like, I think everyone was projecting it to be, a Dak Prescott or a Jameis Winston. I don't think enough people really gave him a chance for that at the beginning of the season, because I remember looking at that and I don't even think I considered Joe Burrow as an option.
I didn't either. We should have.
Yeah, absolutely should have. Dude's a dog. Team's absolutely awesome. In one season, they turned their entire franchise around from being considered a perennial bottom 10 team in the league to, this team's going to be competing with the Chiefs and the Bills every year.
Future's looking bright.
Yeah.
Mine is a team that I always kind of keep down, especially when you look at the stacked division. And they fizzled out too. They do have this narrative behind them that they peak too early, they fizzle out late. It's the Arizona Cardinals. But they were, 10-0? For a good bit of the year, 9-0, whatever it was. They were outperforming what they normally do, even thinking that they're going to be held back a little bit. So, they did great. Kyler's looking like the guy. I know there's a lot of weird things going on up there right now.
Should we talk about that? Should we talk about that?
I don't know. I think we need to see if a little bit more comes out about it, just because I don't think we have a lot other than hearsay right now. The Kyler and the Cardinals beefing with each other, deleting Instagrams, and it's kind of this little petty battle of...
So I'll let you finish your thought on the Cardinals.
Cardinals overachiever. They had a good season overall, top to bottom.
Absolutely.
That's why I mentioned it though, because there's a question mark.
I want to give you credit because, like, you were not high on Kyler coming out.
Thought about putting that as my big moment. No joke.
Yeah, but and to be fair, like, Kyler is a great quarterback. but it does feel like I remember watching this year, and I think I talked to you about it off obviously camera and off the podcast. Just mentioning like, man, Kyler kind of seems like a bitch sometimes. Like there's just moments, and like that's such a easy armchair quarterback type of guy type of thing to say for me to say that. I understand that sounds dumb, and like I don't usually like saying that because obviously he's a superstar football player, all those things. But like just sometimes where it's like, man, like, why are you dropping down in the pocket like when nobody was really around you? Why are you not at least like, I understand you want to protect yourself, and I have no problem with quarterback sliding or whatever, but they're just little moments here and there where it's like, man, there's something off about that. Like that's not the Joe Burrow attitude.
Well,
like
that's where I got that stigma that I don't like Kyler, was because there was a lot of things in pre-draft interviews that you would hear about him. He wouldn't answer questions unless his dad was right next to him.
Yeah.
His dad kind of has always been this thing behind the scenes pushing him. He transferred out of Texas A&M when adversity kind of hit, where he could have fought for that job, but he ended up leaving. Whatever. A lot of people transfer. We're in a transfer portal nowadays. That's just kind of what it is. But now he's to the point where he's starting to commit people saying, if you haven't stepped between the lines, you don't really know who I am. And it's like, man,
it's weird.
If you're having to go to Instagram to address that, I don't care what you think, there is a problem.
Yeah.
No matter what the narrative is, we're not having to question that about certain guys because we let their play and their character dictate that. You have been called into question before. It's called living above reproach. Possession yourself and set yourself up to where you cannot be called into question by doing those things. This little, I want baseball, I want football, I want to get paid now, I don't want to get paid now. Now they're saying he's holding out because he wants to get paid a lot of money right now. Right now.
Yeah, and granted, we don't know for that to be true.
And Kyler is a superstar. He is a phenomenal football player. I never wanted to take that away from him. But when you have a prima donna, you got to appeal to it.
Hey, just credit to you, man, because you have always kind of been down on Kyler, and I know first couple years in the league, like I know it was hard on you to watch him be as good as he was, and it's like in our friend group we're gonna shit on you for when it's not warranted, especially even if we see blood we're gonna pounce.
Yeah, it's hard to be as outspoken as we can be about certain things, and I was very heavy on saying that I had a character issue. And you
didn't like that he said he was going to go play baseball. They let him play last year at college, and then he changes his mind. You weren't real cool with that, and I don't know. There's enough now where it's like I'm not ready to sit here and say that Kyler's an asshole or whatever. Like I'm not calling him.
Regardless of what he is, he's still a great football
questioning
player.
it. Now it's at least in the zeitgeist of like this is a real conversation. This might be a narrative that we look at, and now he has a microscope on him, and if he fucks up even a little, it's going to be expanded.
And it looks like when the pressure was hot for a while during that pre-draft process, he got real upset about people asking about his hands and his height and this, that, and the other. And when you're under a microscope and you can't handle the pressure, we saw what happened to the pressure in that playoff game.
Yeah.
And guess what? He got upset because the narrative was that he let the team down. I'm sorry. You're the quarterback. You're the number one overall pick. You do something that I do applaud Baker for doing. In all of his failures, he has always stood beside it and said, that was me.
He's always been a man about it.
I will be better. You can roast me if you want. I will be my best. Kyler, on the other hand, deletes everything and kind of goes into his little shell and hides. It's like, listen, you can't be the guy on Sunday when you win and not be the guy when you lose. I'm sorry. That was a bad way to handle it as a leader.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even Joe Burrow came out after the Super Bowl and said, I could have played better. And I fucking agree.
And guess what? That wasn't Burrow's place to say, but he did, though. That's what you do as the quarterback. Yeah. You don't ever try to say it's the pieces around me.
Absolutely agree. All right, hey, we'll end it there. That was a great way to end it. I love it. We're getting a little heated now.
Yeah.
You're going to go to the gym. I still have a back pain, so I can't. Great podcast this week. I am going to try and get back on schedule putting out the draft profiles and mock drafts and stuff. So if you're interested in that, it's coming soon. Sorry, it's tough to sit at a computer for a super long time now. So we're getting back into it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week. Peace.